Welcome to another episode of Talking Greenwood with Mayor B. Hope everybody's doing all right out there. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing today Miss Patricia Partlow, who is the newest member of City Council, representing Ward 2. Yeah, thank you. Since I'm at large, sometimes I got to remember where everybody sits because they're numbered from 1 to 6. But Ms. Partlow, you've been on City Council for how long now?
Since January, so a few months.
Okay, so yeah, about 4 months now, and of course you've got big shoes to fill. You tell us who you replaced on City Council in your special election.
I replaced Miss Linda Edwards. Of course, she had been there over 20 years.
Right.
Done some amazing things for our community, so yes, big shoes to fill.
Yeah, Miss Edwards was our most senior council member in terms of, I think, don't want to give any ladies' ages away, but in terms of age and possibly service also. And it was a pleasure for me to get to work with Miss Edwards. I think while I was campaigning, I had some really great times with her, conversations, and she was definitely a special lady that dedicated her life to serving Greenwood. Did you know Miss Edwards well?
I did not know her well, just knew her from being on the City Council.
Right. I didn't either before I ran, and like I said, it was a pleasure to get to know her. But we're gonna get to know you, Ms. Partlow. So, were you born in Greenwood?
I was born in Greenwood, was here for a while, and then we moved to 96.
Okay.
So during my school years, we lived in 96 up until I was a junior in high school. Then we moved back here to Greenwood.
So it was all Greenwood County. It wasn't like you were moving too far away.
No, not too far.
And you go to Greenwood High?
I actually went to 96.
You did?
I graduated from 96 high school in 83, Wildcat for life.
Uh-huh. You talk to Julie after this.
After high school, left there and did some military service.
Okay. What branch were you in?
Army.
Wow. I didn't even know that about Ms. Partlow. You learn something new every day. Tell us where your military service took you.
Took me first to Anniston, Alabama. I went in as a military police.
Uh-huh.
And then from there to Virginia, and then back home. All stateside. We did get activated during Desert Storm.
Uh-huh.
We did not have to deploy, but mostly stateside service.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We'll have to remember that on Veterans Day going forward here in November. So, how long were you in the military?
13 years.
Wow.
13 years.
That's impressive. So, you mentioned Anniston, Alabama. Just as an aside, I kind of done a little bit of research in other towns that I think are most comparable to Greenwood in terms of size, location to larger cities, demographics, and the one town that come up that is the most comparable is Anniston, Alabama. Interestingly enough, I don't know how much time you spent there, but I would like to learn more about the successes they've had and how we can, replicate some of that. But anyway, what was your rank on discharge?
I was an E6.
Gotcha. Wow.
So,
Well,
yeah.
that's interesting. I'm always, as someone who was rejected by the Navy because of asthma, I'm always interested in talking to folks who did serve. So thank you. So after your military service, did you move back to Greenwood?
I did come back to Greenwood, got married very shortly after, and 2 kids, and just lived my life in Greenwood.
Gotcha. Well, good. And we're glad to have you back. We see so many people that leave Greenwood for whatever reason, and something in the water that brings us back, I think. So now your kids, where do they live now?
I have one that lives here. They're both in their 30s, and one lives in it's Dallas now, Dallas, North Carolina.
Gotcha. And I've had the pleasure of meeting one of your grandsons. And how many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3.
Okay.
Well, 2, one on the way. All boys.
Congratulations on
Yeah, Tobias, he joins me at city council meetings a lot.
He does. He does. He might be a city council member one day because he's been preparing for it for every week. I see him there with you, and he's in. I think you were telling me he's in the 5th grade.
Right.
And how old is your other grandchild?
2.
Okay.
So just getting started with that one, and the other one's due in September.
Gotcha. And so is most of your family still in Greenwood?
No, most of my family's up north. Immediate family has kind of died out. My mother passed away in 2017 at the age of 106.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's that undoubtedly was a life well lived. 106. Goodness. Well, so we this is the first in the series of council members that we've gotten to interview. But what drew you to run for public service?
Well, after my mother passed away, because I lived with her and I was taking care of her. After she passed away, it was like, okay, what do I do now? Always had an interest in my community and being able to help. I've done a lot of things kind of on the backside. I've never been one to have the spotlight or look at what I did. I owned a barbershop in '96, and we sponsored basketball teams for the youth, and we did back to school things and food drives and things like that. And a lot of people probably don't know about it, that we did it.
Right.
But when this, I don't want to say opportunity came open, here's a chance now to do something else for my community. And I think being on city council opens a lot more doors, a lot more avenues.
Sure.
So when we had thought about running even before Ms. Linda passed, and we had been kind of preparing for it on the back end to run against her. And when she passed, certainly that opportunity opened up. And we didn't want to run against her because we didn't think she was doing a great job or nothing like that. But you want to help your community. That was my desire.
Right, and that's what I tell people all the time is, I'm fortunate it worked, to have this platform, like you said, opportunity may not be the right word, but you don't have to be mayor or on council to give back to your community. There's many different ways. It's just one of a number of different ways. We've got a lot of great leaders in this community. Obviously, there's 7 of us on city council, but there are way more than 7 people that are leaders in the city of Greenwood.
True.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. Well, speaking of Ward 2, you want to, and some of the viewers can go online and look at a map, but you want to tell viewers where just by landmarks what your ward covers.
I was actually surprised as big as Ward 2 is. It goes all the way out to the other side of, if you go past Mount Tabor Church, all the way out to the other side of Marshall Road, Sweetwater Road.
Right.
And covers that whole neighborhood. Then there's an area over on the west side of town that it covers.
The West Side community?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It covers all of that. And we go up Seaboard Avenue, up to Griffin Avenue, I'm sorry, not Griffin, Bird Street, back into that area, Gage Street, all of that.
Right. So yeah, you got really the heart. Everybody on council, all 6 wards are part of the heart of Greenwood, but that includes uptown and east of Main Street, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But what are some things that that folks may not know about you, or maybe some things that you would like to get accomplished, to see accomplished?
Well, I think people don't know is that I'm a barber.
So you got your cosmetology license or barber
license.
license, which I think is even more.
Yeah,
it's tougher to get, from what I understand.
But as far as things I want to do, I think we know with Ward 2, the biggest thing in our ward is violence.
Right.
I think we're kind of at the heart of that. And we definitely want to try to turn that around. And what we have to understand as a community, fear and shame does not equal change. We can't use fear tactics, we can't use shaming tactics. So we've got to come up with better and different tactics, if you will, to change the mindset of the young people that are in our community. And I think we're blessed to have people like the Josh Normans and DJ Swearinger who are willing to come back to our neighborhood and do things for our youth and open up doors for them. And we as a community have to understand when it comes to city council, we are one vote and one voice for each of our wards. And it's going to take the support, it's going to take the cooperation, and it's going to take the community coming together with us to effectively get some change in our communities.
Yeah, that was perfectly stated, I think. And I know you've been involved in some community outreach with our police department at Morris Chapel. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it a couple weeks ago when y'all got together, but I think that's a great thing to get the community to, and I think Chief Shadowan's doing a great job of 21st century community-minded policing.
And I really want to commend him on that, because what we need to see in our communities, let's just put it out there, as African American communities, we like to see the police come to our communities because they want to get to know us, right, because they want to just interact with us, not because they're looking for someone or looking for information on someone. So I really want to commend him on that, with all of the things that he's trying to implement,
right,
with the bike patrols and all of that. I think those are great things.
It really is encouraging, and that's not to say we can't guarantee there won't be any more violence.
Right.
But I like where we're poised for the future, mm-hmm, and so and you know, on top of that, I know we've got a diversity council now that we've been trying. We're going to continue to redouble our efforts to make sure our police department reflects the community too. I mean, I know we need more diversity so that when our officers go into the communities can look back and say, well, that guy or gal looks like I do, you know?
Right.
And so I know that's something that's important. Right now we have on such a, you know, with our budget and with some money, we have trouble hiring anybody, but we certainly want to continue to focus our efforts on diversity in that regard. But that's my soapbox. This is getting to meet Ms. Partlow. I think I hope she would agree with that as well. But you know, we had a brainstorming session that the Index covered a few weeks ago, and I think there were a lot of good ideas. Remind me some of the ones that you had thrown out there, and some.
Well, we just want to, when it comes to beautification, we'd like to see that spread into our neighborhoods. I personally feel like when people come into their neighborhoods and the neighborhood looks nice and where they live looks nice, they tend to take care of it better and they feel better about it, and that reflects the neighborhood. We can't allow landlords, especially, that's my big thing, to collect rent from our citizens for, you know, years and not do anything as far as upkeep of the property. So we need to help our citizens make where they live look better, safer neighborhoods. And when I when I made the decision to run for city council, I knew this was going to be a challenging thing, but I didn't realize how emotionally taxing it could be.
You're absolutely right, and I think you've done a great job expressing that emotional aspect to city council membership service. But I couldn't have said that first part any better. I mean, that was something that I ran on as well, because I personally, yes, everybody wants to clean up, but I feel like I didn't fully appreciate the direct correlation between cleaning up and improved quality of life until really I started thinking about public service as well. And then I sat through a seminar from our state litter coordinators, Palmetto Pride, and really it kind of clicked then. This was 3 or 4 years ago. It really clicked the direct correlation between just improved self-esteem. I mean, just little things like that, and cleaning up, whether that's trash, that's graffiti, that's street lights and sidewalks, and whether cameras or whatever, just making sure that everyone feels pride in their communities.
Exactly. Being out in the neighborhoods and talking with people, and I talked with a group of young men, and it's funny because this group of men, if you looked at them, these are the very type of group of men that we would say, I'm scared of. And we can't be scared to go into our own neighborhoods, that's
Right.
one thing. But I got to talking to them, I said, if there's one thing you could see in your neighborhood that you want, what would it be? And there was a vacant lot in their neighborhood. And the only thing they asked for was a basketball goal.
Really?
So if we can provide that, and that is going to help them see their neighborhood differently,
Right.
then we should do things like that. A lot of times, all they want is just to know that somebody cares about their neighborhood.
Right. Right. You're exactly right. It's just to know that someone's listening and
Right.
yeah, and hearing their concerns. Well,
I'm sorry. We have a Facebook page. I believe in using all avenues.
right.
So we have a Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, it's under Greenwood City Ward 2.
I joined it
You
recently.
did?
I did.
Well, thank
yeah.
you. A lot of people, some people don't take the newspaper, some people don't listen to radio, so we use all of those avenues to try to reach people. Facebook, we have, our phone number is there, you can email us there. We don't mind talking to the community,
Right.
because that's what it takes. We don't know what you need, what you want, unless you tell us.
That's right. You mentioned radio. You told me that you've been doing radio as well.
Yeah, I started out with Rejoice 1090. I went in to cut a commercial for my barbershop, and Bill Robinson,
Oh, Bill. Yeah.
yeah. Don't you want to do radio? I was like, no. And he kept bugging. I said, I'll give it one shot.
How long ago was this?
It's been, about 9 years ago.
Okay.
Something like that. And I gave it one shot and loved it.
Yeah.
And been doing it ever since. And I own an internet radio station. And just recently I went back over to 1450. So I'm on there every Sunday.
Well, what time are you on Sundays?
3:30 to 7.
Okay.
3:30.
We'll make sure I'm gonna put that on my iPhone calendar so it pops up and I'll listen in. What do you play?
Now that's a gospel show. But having just started back, we're trying to find what exactly we want to do. We know we're going to be doing some interviews, call-in interviews, those types of things. So we're still in the kind of planning stages of
Sure.
what we're going to do. But it's interesting, it's fun. I enjoy doing radio. Again, it's an opportunity to talk to people.
Right. Well, how can the viewers find you on the internet?
You can go to www.faithexpressions.net. I just want to say to the community, remember, we're all in this together. So, we need your support, we need your cooperation, we need your participation.
Right.
We have, I know, cleanups coming in all of our wards.
That's right.
And I spoke with someone on the west side, and they made a good point. we need to help each other's wards.
You're exactly right, but couldn't have said it any better than Miss Partlow. Well, I tell you what, Miss Partlow's the newest member. We're gonna interview some other members as we in the next few weeks, but it's always interesting to hear new perspectives. So, Ms. Partlow, thank you for the 4 months thus far, and I look forward to continuing to serve with you.